What is good, Baltimore? And welcome back to the show. This week, I have chosen a very special place in my heart in the middle of Baltimore City. Today, we are currently sitting in the center of the Mount Washington Arboretum. And now, if anyone from Baltimore has not been to Mount Washington, I apologize in advance to everyone that lives here because it has always been described to me as a secret oasis. So, I might be spoiling the secret here. I might be giving it away. But I feel like everyone should come see this place because of how beautiful it is. I mean, it's just a small little park in the middle of Mount Washington with so much to offer. It's got all these different little scenic benches. There's a hiking trail right behind me. They've got bee houses down the little trail here. There's beekeepers that live here that maintain the area over here. I've gotten to speak with a few of them, and it's crazy to hear about. There's a vegetable garden. There's so much going on in this little tree park. But I chose it today because not only does it have all that to offer anyone that's in Baltimore looking for a peaceful place to walk around and maybe sit and reflect for a little bit, but I've had so many memories in this park. I've come here a lot with friends, with family, with people I care about, and also by myself. This is one of the nicest places I can think of when I look back on Baltimore. And, I think it's an appropriate place to choose for today because I kind of have a big announcement to make, but you're just going to have to stick around for me to reveal what that is. Unless you know me, then you already know the answer, but yeah, you'll see. But yeah, this Arboretum, man, I first came here with my roommates at the time. I first came here in 2021, which is crazy to think about because that's 4 years ago. But me and my two roommates at the time, we went on a little adventure. We thought, it's a nice day out, and we want to go outside. We want to explore an unseen part of Baltimore in our eyes. So we hopped on the light rail, and we took it all the way to the Mount Washington station. And immediately when you get off, you are met with this, peaceful little neighborhood. It's got a quiet little town, this alley full of taverns and row homes. I think there's a vet clinic right there. There's a sushi spot that I've been on a few dates at. And it's just a quiet little town that you wouldn't expect to still be part of Baltimore, but it's still here in the city. And further down the road, you come across where we are today, the Mount Washington Arboretum. And when me and my roommates first came here, we were just blown away. We spent so much time here. I think we might have actually just, wasted the entire afternoon. Well, not wasted, but spent the entire afternoon just walking through here, gawking at the nature and the little kinetic sculptures and projects that were going on here. And this bench that I'm currently sitting on, it's not like any other bench in this park. Because as my roommates and I discovered, that right between my legs here is a park journal. And I don't know how well you can see it because you're kind of far away, but this is a little spiral-bound notebook that unfortunately has seen better years. It has not survived pretty much at all. I mean, this is not really salvageable anymore. This is just scrap paper, soaked, and the ink is bleeding, which is really unfortunate because when we first came here in 2021, this book was overflowing. I mean, it barely fit in this little pocket here in the bench. It was packed with entries from complete strangers across the city. Every page had something different. Some people did little drawings of what they saw in front of them, the trees, the animals, the nature around them. Other people just wrote, they log dated it. We saw some things that were as far back as 2007, which is insane. But, every entry was so different. There were entries by people that were here alone, just enjoying a really nice day. There were people that came here as friends and they were writing about, what they're up to right now. Hell, we read people's drama. They were writing about how their friends were fighting. There were people that wrote about how they've had their first kiss on this bench. People that have had their first date in this arboretum. People that were freshly broken up with and they were healing and they came here to, try and find themselves. People that have been coming here for decades. Elderly people that, grew up in this arboretum and got to see it flourish over the years. It was a beautiful relic of this park. It had entries from, sometimes people would write their name and yeah, sometimes people would write their Instagram handle and stuff, but they were complete strangers. I didn't know any of these people that wrote in this book, and I got to hear their stories, and it's kind of funny that I'm doing this here now, this show, because that's essentially what I'm doing. Is I'm just pushing my life and my story into the internet where anyone can see it. And I don't know who's going to hear it. I don't know who's going to read it. I don't know who is watching, And there's something really special about that way of thinking where you're making a mark on a place that you don't know who's going to see. You don't know who is going to pick it up and read it. But when we came here, we must have spent about an hour or two just reading through it all, and then we we went through it all, and then we wrote our own entry. We drew little portraits of each other, little doodles of my roommate's little curly redhead afro, and my other one's he had a man bun at the time. I don't know what my hair looked like. You will all probably see this throughout the course of this show, but I never have the same hair for long. I'm way too addicted to change, so I'll go long enough with hair, and I'll just be like, you know what, it's time to cut it. And maybe I'll hate it, but I need a change every once in a while. This is not how my hair looked a couple months ago. A couple months ago, I had long flowing locks that just were getting a little annoying for the summer. But that was the first time that I came to this place, and immediately started with a very sentimental moment, because that's one of my favorite memories of going out with those roommates. And it reminds me of a time where things were really good in my life, where, I had a great living situation. I had amazing friends. I was happy. I was active. And I was passionately pursuing my art. And I was alone. I wasn't with anyone. all right, I wasn't single, but it was a long distance, not really present thing. So honestly, I look back on that period as one of the greatest periods of time where I knew myself and I could be alone. I had the pursuit of something greater to focus on. I had my friends, I had a great living situation, and I was in a city that I adored, that I was just finding something new about every single day. And to reflect on a moment like that in a period where I'm at now is interesting, because I It's not like that anymore. And it's not supposed to be. Don't get me wrong. Things are supposed to change. Things are supposed to evolve. You're supposed to grow away from people, and you're supposed to move on. Nothing's supposed to last forever. And I'm trying to find comfort in that, that things happen and they end. And rather than mourning what was, you should reminisce and realize how great of times they were. And you should do everything in your power to go find new experiences like that, Remember the times you were happy and go make new memories. Go make new friends. Go find someone. Because for the past couple of weeks, it's been rough here. I've felt lonely. And it's strange because I feel like I don't have anyone else to blame aside from myself this time. Because I look back on that period where I was going in solo and I was really focused on myself. Hell, I was going to movies by myself. I was going to parties by myself, and I was coming home alone, and it was like the greatest feeling. And it's strange because I've just recently found myself back in that situation where I am living alone, and it's painful. And it's weird because you look back on that period and you're like, well, I was happy back then being completely alone. Why can't I do that now? And it's because where I'm at right now, which is a result of a lot of the choices I've made that were made not for me. And unfortunately, I find myself realizing that I've kind of been doing that a lot lately, and honestly, my whole life, or most of my life, is that I've been making decisions for others and just telling myself, I can deal with it. I'm a very resourceful person. I'm a very spontaneous individual. I can figure it out. I can do this to make someone else happy and then figure it out myself. But then I had to realize, how's it going? I had to realize that wasn't good for me, because why would I make decisions to make other people happy when in reality I knew what I wanted. I know what I want, and I'm not doing that. And so it's strange finally being, kind of pushed into the situation where you're alone again, and you're like, shit, like the only person that's in charge of me now is me. And so that leads me to the big announcement that I alluded to in the beginning, and that is that I will be leaving Baltimore in 2 weeks. I am moving to Brooklyn, New York. This has been a dream of mine for a while now. Honestly, God, it's been a dream of mine since I was little. Since I was in middle school and I first took that, family field trip to the Museum of Natural History and the Met and all these amazing places in New York. And all throughout my childhood in New Jersey, I'm right in the armpit of New York. It's a 30-minute drive, but with traffic, it's like 2 hours. But we're right there, And I have grown up with the privilege of being able to go see this city that I've fallen in love with, I've built a connection with this place that I've never truly gotten to live in the way I've wanted to. And, not to say that it hasn't been an amazing ride living here in Baltimore. Don't get me wrong, I adore this city, and I'm going to miss it dearly. I'm going to miss it so much. But at some point, I had to look introspectively and come to the conclusion that much like those nostalgic times with my roommates where I was looking back and living for that nostalgia, I continued to do that to this day. The things that were happening here, I based off of the good times. Oh man, all the good memories I've had in this city, all of the people I've met, all of the connections I've made, it's like I can't let them go. But some of them don't exist anymore. Some of them are gone. Not all of them are grounded in reality. Some of them are just me kind of coping, I want to stay here because I want to see this through. I want to build something here. But I don't know. I've wanted to build something in New York for God knows how long. And I mentioned this in the first episode where that was the plan originally. I was going to move there with the person that I was with, and it unfortunately kind of caved in on itself when money became a problem, when we both kind of got scared. And I don't know, it's strange because at the time I would have given everything to be there. Doesn't matter if I was broke, doesn't matter if I was living in a closet that had roaches. Like, I'll figure it out. And I ended up staying here because I wanted to continue the relationship I was in. I didn't want anything to tear me apart from this person. And it's strange reflecting on that because that relationship ended not long after. And so it took a bit for me to understand that the whole reason I kind of stayed here was to maintain that relationship. And now that it is gone, what reason do I have left not to go? And so that feels like what's right for me. And it feels like for the first time in years, I am making a choice that is selfish, It is entirely based around what I want, what I see for my future. I want to gallery hop from Brooklyn to Queens to Manhattan to the openings every weekend. I want to sip wine with other artists my age. I want to go party it up in the underground scene at New York. I want to thrive in Brooklyn. I want to go get a fucking slice of pizza and a bagel with cream cheese in the morning. I want to meet people. I want to talk to people who are interesting, who are interested. And I want to prove to everyone around me that the delusions and the goals that I've been chasing ever since I decided I wanted to be an artist were true. And I can do it. And I do have that ability within me. And it's also to prove it to myself, I can be alone. I can be alone in the city, and I can make something of myself. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for this next chapter of my life because it marks an era where I am doing something completely for me. And it's hard, don't get me wrong. Not everyone tells you how lonely it is to discover yourself, They don't talk about that part. The nights where you're lying in bed alone wishing that someone was there. The days where no one picks up when you call and you're not feeling great. The days where you've wasted away on a project or something you're passionate about and it fails and there's no one to talk about it with and you're just left there with failure. No one tells you about that. But it's important. It's a really important part of that process of moving forward and being an individual, is realizing that there's nothing wrong with being alone. And these past couple of weeks, I've struggled with that, So I get, if any of you out there are currently dealing with that and it's really hard for you, don't get me wrong, it's been hard for me too. I've been trying to rediscover that positive loneliness in myself, the comfort in relaxing and being alone. I've found my art practice to be really great for this. There's no more comfort I find than when I'm sitting at my desk, carving a block of wood, working on an image, drawing in my sketchbook, writing in a journal, like just taking a little passion project and focusing on that is really good because it makes me feel fulfilled. And that is to finally come to the understanding that you can't let anything hold you back. I'm sure that many of you out there, much like myself, have experienced a time where you wanted to go somewhere. You want to move. You're done with the place you're at. Not to say you hate it, not to say you don't love being there, but you're ready to move on. You're ready to move forward in life. You have a goal you're chasing. You have a place that you've always wanted to be. And something's holding you back. And it could be your family. Maybe you don't want to be apart from your loved ones. Maybe someone's sick. Maybe someone's going through troubling times and you want to be there for them. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe you really value the relationships you've made in this place you're in, and you're scared of what will happen if you leave them. And you're scared of what will happen to you if you don't have these friends to comfort you and be there with you. Maybe you're in a relationship, no matter how long, but you're infatuated with this person. You love them. You want to be with them forever. But you're at the same time thinking, what if I'm giving up on my dreams to stay with this person? I'm young. I have goals. What if I'm giving up on these goals because I love someone? And these are all just examples of reasons, of the thousands of reasons to not go chase what you want. Because it's really easy to just give up. It is really easy to know what you want, to know what you need to do to get there. And then once you have one reason to not do it, all the other ones are just, tools that you can use to convince yourself that it's okay. Because that's how it felt when I first gave up on moving to New York. We told ourselves, it's finances, nothing we can do about that. We're not in control of that. We're broke fresh out of college students, we're artists, we're broke. So it makes sense that we want to stay here. And then you fall into this hole of like, oh, well, also we have a community here and it's nice here. And you just fall into this trap of telling yourself that it's okay when really deep down you are silencing the voice that is saying, who cares about all that? Just go. Just do it. Just leave. Because you'll work it out. You'll figure out a way. And that's finally what I've been given the opportunity to. There's nothing holding me back. I've got friends here. I've got a really great community here. I just started working with this printmaking gallery here that I should have been working with since the day I graduated. And I just got in with them and now I'm moving, which seems ridiculous. But there's a lot that's in New York. The printmaking scene, it's fantastic there. And I want to be a part of it. To quote Frank Sinatra, I want to be a part of it, New York. There's just so much that I love about that city. And I've been visiting there a lot lately. I do exhibitions there and drive up to visit family there. I visit friends. There's so many events that happen there. There's always something happening. And I find myself missing it. It's not even my home and I miss it. And so I am ready to make this next step. And you, if you are considering moving, if you are considering taking the next step in your life, you are ready. Stop telling yourself that you are not ready, because life is going to pass you by and you're going to realize that choice that you didn't think was super important could have made a world of difference in the long run. I've heard about that from many artists. I've spoken to so many creative people in my life so far. And it's always the stories of people that gave up on their dreams for another person that regret it. And they weren't able to find what they were looking for decades. And I'm not trying to wait around for my dreams to come to me. I'm ready to get up and go. I love printmaking. I love art. I love creating work more than anything else. Than any other people in my life. It's the only thing I live for, is to make work. And I want to do it where maybe I can be seen. And don't get me wrong, I'm also at a point in my life where I'm done with expectations. I'm done expecting things to happen. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. So, if in a few episodes you see me living in a cardboard box in front of the Met, then it didn't work out. I failed, and that's okay. I'm open to whatever comes my way. I am going into this understanding that failure is possible. And that's okay, because failure may be possible, but it's not an option, if that makes sense, if that in any way clicks. Like, failure is something we all have to deal with, but you're not going to let it stop you. You're not going to let it be the thing that drives your mindset. You're not going to let it cause you to stop in your tracks, Failure isn't an option. I'm not going into this with the mindset of I'm going into this headstrong, knowing that the dreams that I've had for all these years, that the life I've wanted to have, it's right there in front of me, ready to be snatched. And I can do it, and no one else can tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone else in your life tell you can't do something, because that's also something that you're not often told. It's not always obvious because you hear it all the time. People are like, oh, don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. No one's coming up to you. I mean, maybe you've got someone in your life that is doing this and they're a dick, but coming up to you being like, you can't do that. You're not good enough. It's never that obvious. It's the subtle looks, You talk about something, you talk about a goal, and they give you that look, It's like that meme, like, people don't even tell you can't do it anymore. They just look at you like this. You can feel the doubt. It's like an energy that exudes off of the people you're around. And I've experienced that a lot, especially when I was working on comics. I had this comic series that I saw the vision. I saw the entire series. It would flash in my brain for long periods of time, and I would work towards that goal. And I would talk about it with people, and they're like, oh, that's really cute. That's a great hobby. That's a great passion project, But it wasn't until years later where I won a competition for it. I won $20,000 to fund my comic. When I got articles written about me and my comic books, when I sold out of all of them, when I got invited to all these different tabling events to show my work, it wasn't until that happened that everyone that did doubt it was like, whoa, this, like, you were serious. Yeah, bro, I am serious. And so just like take yourself seriously. Take what you want and what you desire and what you really feel like you can become, and take it seriously. Don't let people make it a joke. Don't laugh about it. Don't get embarrassed by it when you're talking about it with people. Let people know you're fucking serious, because you are. Deep down, you believe in this. Don't let anyone else, cause you to give up on that. Don't let people make you believe that, oh, dude, there's no money in that. Or, I don't know, that industry seems good. Like, no, it doesn't matter. You can make it work, whatever it is you are looking for. It takes time, and it takes research, and it takes work. But you can do it. And if you want it, you will get it. Just work towards it, Don't let anyone else hold you back. Do what's going to make you happy. And I know that that's difficult. I know more than anyone else how difficult it is to do something for you. Because I've lived most of my life as a people pleaser. I have always wanted other people's comfort more than my own. I've wanted to make other people happy. And I've dictated a lot of my life based around making others happy and making sure they're comfortable. And then who's left to comfort me? If I'm not there to comfort myself and I'm only there to make others happy, no one's there to have my back, to carry me on their shoulders, And I've been clocked for this before, one of my close friends recently was like, hey, one of the reasons you feel lonely right now is because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable. You don't want them to deal with your stress and your anxiety and your sadness. So you don't open up to them. You don't tell them how you really feel. You laugh and you say, it's fine, like, it's whatever, and you laugh it off, but then they don't know you, because that's not you. The real you is suffering inside about these feelings. And if you're not voicing that to the people you love, then they don't know you. You're not being yourself. And so that is something that I hope to get better at soon, is really opening up to people, letting them see who I really am. Because I feel like I do a better job of it on this fucking talk show than I do with the people that I hang out with on a weekly basis. No one sees me cry. No one sees me, oh my God, yeah, no one knows how much I bawl my eyes out to Faye Webster on a weekly basis. That's not something I tell people. It's not something they see, because I don't want them to see it, because I don't want them to be responsible for me. But you know what? I think it's okay to rely on people and show them the real you. And while it's unfortunate that I will be leaving a lot of those people behind, I look forward to making new connections in New York, and knowing that if I ever need people to come to, Baltimore will always be here for me. There's people here, there's a community that won't just forget about me, that I won't just forget about, and I'm going to come back. I still need to come to Wet City to get my hot wing fix, because no one else in the world makes hot wings like these guys do. I'm telling you, Wing Thursday, don't miss out. There's no place like this Arboretum that's got my emotional history stored within it. This whole city is nostalgic to me, and I will come back to visit. But I'm ready to move forward and make new memories, because as much as I love this city, where I have made hundreds of connections and friends, where I've fallen in love where I've gotten my heart broken, where I've made friends and lost friends, where I've learned things, where I've gotten hurt, where I've gotten mugged, where I've gotten my confidence boosted and destroyed. I have so much of a connection with this city, and that's not going anywhere, even if I am. Much like this book, much like this empty, molten cicada shell that's been sitting next to me this whole time, I am leaving a mark. Even if no one else can see it, it's here. And I will always know that, and I'll always remember that. And I'm going to miss the people that are here. And if any of you are those people, just know that whether we still talk, whether we maybe had a falling out, whether we hate each other, whether we still have feelings for each other, that I'm not going to forget you, you know? And for any strangers that are watching this show, I hope I get to meet you one day. Come to New York. Come grab a coffee. Come grab a slice. I love meeting other creative people. I just love meeting people. I love meeting new people. And so this isn't goodbye. I'm going to continue this show for the next foreseeable future. It's just, we're rebranding, people. We're putting a new face to the show. It's going to be What's Good Brooklyn. What it was going to be in the first place, weirdly enough. But What's Good Baltimore? Maybe I'll come back and do some extra episodes. Maybe if I find myself spending a week here or so, I'll come back. I'll interview some people. I'll do some things that I planned to in the first place. But for now, last episode will be next week. Big pressure. I got to find a good spot to end off the whole series on. But next week will be the end of season 1, which is What's Good Baltimore, and you will find me again in a couple weeks in Brooklyn, and you'll get to follow along my journey, my successes, my failures. I don't know what to expect. I'm excited. I'm scared. I'm worried. But there's nothing stopping me anymore. I'm not letting anything stop me anymore. And you shouldn't either. So, whoever you are, wherever you are, don't let anything get in your way. Make the hard decision. If you know it's the right decision, make it. You know, that is something that my father told me, and it stuck with me for a while. It's that the right decision is not always the easiest, and it is often the hardest one. It is often going to be the one that keeps you up at night and is the most difficult decision to make. But if you know it's right, make it. You know? Take that leap. Take that step. Don't hesitate. Just do what you need to do. And so I will leave you with that. And I will leave this Arboretum with the memories and experiences that I've had over the course of these past 6 years that I've lived here. Yeah. Well, I will see you next week. I hope you have a good week. If no one's got your back, just know that I always will. You can do whatever you want to do in life. If you've got dreams of being an artist, anything, you can do it. Keep working towards it, and I'll do the same. I'll see you guys later. Oh my God, guys, there is a little frog right next to the camera. Shut up, you are so cute. Hello, little friend.